Alright, this one's super short, but it's because this is part one of a two-part video, and part two can only happen if I get your help. So, let's go. Scott Jund recently tweeted a poll asking which side has the highest potential for toxicity. The examples he gave were slugging for 4 minutes to spite on killer, or teabagging / macroing as survivor, etc. Let's ignore the implicit bias in the examples given for the purpose of the video, but of course we're going to point out how the poll itself is already leading readers into a specific thought pattern, but I mean, who's surprised? Unsurprisingly, Killer has 57% of 5,587 votes, while Survivor has 43%. I, of course, voted Survivor. We can assume that the majority of any content creator's audience primarily plays Survivor, so they would be more inclined to vote that way based on their own level of bias and their experiences. With this in mind, instead of focusing on the result of the poll, I'm going to ask you a few questions, and we can answer this question with a little more accuracy than a Twitter poll from a member of the entitled elite.
Space Coconut.
The most important word in the poll was potential. This one word creates a scale to which we can apply various factors. Number of ways a role can be toxic, number of times a toxic behavior can occur in a match or in a single day of playing, number of other players the behavior impacts, and most importantly, what's the definition of toxicity in the poll, or what's the gauge at which a behavior can be more or less toxic. Some forms of slugging can be more toxic than teabagging, obviously, but some players would call all slugging toxic even when a proper tactical choice is made, while others would say teabagging is more toxic than slugging. For the purposes of this video, we're going to pretend that Scott's poll has no implicit bias and go with this baseline. Deliberately slugging as a killer is equally as toxic as teabagging. This is based on the examples given in Scott's poll. I know that that's a wide range of behaviors, and I'd rather not do it this way, but blame Scott's implicit bias. So now here's what you're going to do. You're going to give me a single example of toxicity from either role. Remember that teabagging is equally as toxic as malicious slugging. Put the role in the top line, and then an example below it. Be sure to not forget about both solo survivors and swift groups. I don't need a long paragraph with your life story about this one toxic event. I'm not going to read the whole damn thing. Keep it short and sweet, and over the next few days I'm going to count all of the examples and separate them according to role, and we'll see what we come up with. I know this isn't going to be totally accurate, but it's way more accurate than me coming up with several examples on my own and coming up with conclusions based on those examples. The next video will be a follow-up to this one, and I'll share the best and funniest comments as well as come up with the final answer to the question, which role has the highest potential for toxicity? I really look forward to reading your comments. I know they're all going to be good. In the meantime, I'm Space Coconut, and thanks.